And away we go. So good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. Wherever you happen to be in the world today, welcome one and all to Coffee Talk. It is time once again for Coffee Talk Live, where we will be having some discussion about what is going on in the world today. We'll take a look at some clips from the news, share a little bit of dialogue with those of you who are able to join us for the live portion. And if you happen to be listening somewhere else and you wanted to join the live portion, you can find us Monday through Friday at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on YouTube, on Coffee Talk and Prepper University. That's at Coffee Talk Live and at Prepper University. You can find me on X at Coffee Talk Chat, Rumble, Coffee Talk 2, and fistfulofradio.com, podcasting out of Atlanta. This is Granny Smith, for those of you who can see. Naturally, there's Granny Smith trying to get my attention, so I figured I'd say hello to her here really quickly. I try. As we get ready to jump off and take a look at the realm of the ridiculous, which is the world that we live in here today, and we'll take a look at the news. As much of it as we can stand, because it is toxic and it happens so quickly now, you can barely keep up with it. Barely keep up with it. Now I'll go ahead and I'll say hello to some of the people that have chimed in so far on the live portion. I see that Brian is here, as well as Helter, Dragon, James, Jeff, D'Lo, John, and Country Living, who says thumbs up, everyone. Yeah, please do if you don't mind. I'll take all the thumbs up that I can get. All the thumbs up that I can get. You saw my thumbnail. Because, of course, Zelenskyy is flip-flopping again. Now he wants to deal. Oh, please, deal. Yes. I changed my mind. Deal. Monkey is here. And hello to everyone else who is watching or listening that cannot or does not want to chime in. That's okay. We're going to start off with something that came from yesterday, just to clarify. This came up, and I looked for it, and this is as close as I could find. Someone suggested that a Russian warship sank a British freighter. I can find no evidence of that. I can't find anything on that subject. This is as close as I could get. Daily Mail, Russia sends warship through the English Channel. So Russian warship has been spotted escorting a sanctioned cargo ship crew by men in military fatigues through the English Channel. The Times reported that the Boykie, a Russian corvette that is 340 feet long and can carry 99 men at a time, was escorting the Baltic Leader, a large cargo ship sanctioned by the U.S. in 2022 for transporting weapons for Russia in the early hours Monday morning. Armed personnel was seen manning machine guns in the warship as it passed through the south of the English Channel. The Baltic Leader was carrying a shipment of military hardware from a Russian base in Taurus, Syria, where Kremlin operations are being wound down in the wake of the fall of dictator Bashar al-Assad, something that you haven't seen in the media at all. James Drockford of the intelligence consultancies Droxford Maritime said, Droxford Maritime, said the recovered military hardware on board the Baltic Leader could be used to reinforce Russia's combat capability in the Ukraine or to replenish military stocks in other key Russian military regions. And that envoy began at 5 a.m. March 3rd. So convoy slowly traveled across the English Channel. It's hardly a convoy if it's two ships and only one of them is a military ship and the other one's a cargo. There they are. There's a picture of them. But as far as a Russian warship sinking an English freighter, I couldn't find anything on that. Nothing. Eric says, if you weren't convinced that animals are better than humans, just look at the left last night. That pretty much tells it all. Yeah, I had seen that. I don't have the story pulled up, but are you talking about when Trump brought that 10-year-old out? I think he's like 9 or 10 years old. He had brain surgery. He's a cancer. He was a cancer patient, had a tumor removed, and he made him like an honorary Secret Service agent or something like that. And who was it? One of those prominent people from the left. They said hopefully he doesn't commit suicide like the other officers on January 6th. Like, that's just evil. You can't let the kid just enjoy himself. He's 10, right? I think he was 10. And Laura is here, said they'll be doing stuff and listening. But yeah, I mean, yeah, sure, it's a propaganda piece. Let's roll out the kid. But you don't have to insult the kid. I don't like that kind of pandering, but whatever. He wants to be a law officer when he grows up. So they made him a monkey. Says he thought the kid was 14. I don't know. I don't know how old he is. Let me see. See if I can find it. If I can spot the story, I'll pull it up. Boy battling cancer. Okay, yeah, I'll open this one. I'll open this one up and we'll take a look at it real quick. JJ says he's 13. Yeah, it's obvious that we're unclear on this. So I will clarify it. But I did see that, and like I said, I don't like that kind of pandering anyways, but it's just a kid. Leave him alone. Let him have his moment. What do you care? And this is a Fox News article. It says, President Trump appoints boy battling cancer as honorary Secret Service agent. Biggest honor of them all. Okay, he is 13. During his joint address to Congress, President Trump made a heartfelt gesture in reference to Make America Healthy Again. Trump appointed a 13-year-old as an honorary Secret Service agent and spoke of RFK Jr.'s priority in reversing childhood cancers. So Devarge, a rare form of brain cancer, and has dreamt of becoming a police officer. The boy was welcomed with a standing ovation as Trump recognized his courage in front of the nation. DJ was diagnosed with brain cancer. Doctors gave him 5 months to live. That was 6 years ago. Okay, so he survived that. And this is a picture of him. It won't let me expand it. There he is. And that's the ID, the honorary badge that they gave him. And as I understand it, many hardline Democrats refused to stand up or applaud or acknowledge him, and said nasty things about the whole thing, including, like I said, that one person who suggested that he might off himself, like some of the Capital City Police did after January 6th, which I've talked about at length, ad nauseum, because of how suspicious it is that 4 of them would do that before getting to trial. I think that's very, very suspicious. D'Lo says they've been busy moving to a new house, have been listening for a few days. Well, hopefully that works out well for you. Country Living says the left isn't happy, so no one else can be happy. That's true. That's true. Like I said, I don't care for pandering, but, who cares? Who cares? Let the kid have his moment. Obviously, it meant something to him. He knew what was going on. Why you gotta insult the kid for it? Why you gotta put him down? Make it uncomfortable. And JJ said, who said that? Yeah, now you got me searching all over the place for everything. I'm trying to remember who, let me see. I'll see if I can find it. See if I can find it. I don't know. because I'm getting everything else. I'm getting everything else. And what was his name again? Is it in here? Because it goes on to say Democrats attending Trump's Tuesday night speech at a joint session of Congress refused to stand. Refused to stand. I'm not seeing it in this article either. I don't want to be searching all day. I'll look for it later and I'll bring it up to tomorrow if I can find it. Spectre has joined us. Glad you could make it because I don't want to drag on that for too long while I search through the internet or God knows what. But anyways, we may as well get to the thumbnail and Zelensky's flip-flopping. Zelensky's flip-flopping because now he acts like he's on board again. Now he wants to negotiate. Now he wants to negotiate again. Yeah, this guy. So this is a CBS News article. It says Ukraine's Zelensky says time to make things right, quote, with the U.S. and seeks Trump's strong leadership for peace. Gotcha. Says Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky said Tuesday that his country is ready to come to the negotiating table as soon as possible to work out a peace deal to end the war sparked by Russia's full-scale invasion. Dude, you were at that table. You were at that table the other day. You were at that table, okay? The Ukrainian leader also said it was time to make things right with the United States after a bruising Oval Office meeting with President Trump and the suspension of U.S. military aid to the Ukraine. Nobody wants peace most on social media. My team and I, we stand ready to work under President Trump's strong leadership to get peace that lasts. Now you want to work under Trump. Okay. Ukraine's president then outlined possible first stages for a ceasefire deal, which appeared to echo a European proposal floated by French President Emmanuel Macron over the weekend. He issued his statement as Ukraine braced to continue its defense without the aid of U.S. military support, which Mr. Trump said he was pausing Monday. I'm surprised he was still getting any. We are ready to work fast to end war, and first stage could be release of prisoners and troops in the sky, ban on missiles, long-range drones, bombs on energy, and also civilian infrastructure. The truce in the sea immediately. If Russia will do the same, then we want to move very fast through all next stages and to work with U.S. to agree to a strong final deal, says Voldemort. Zelensky emphasized the U.S. and President Trump's contribution to Ukraine's fight against Russia's invasion. Oh, now you want to admit it. People really value how much East America has done. And we remember the moment Ukraine with javelins. We are grateful for this. Our meeting in the Washington at the White House Friday is not go the way it's supposed to be. It is regrettable that it happens that way. It is time to make things right. We would like future cooperation and communication to be constructive. Anytime and in any convenient format. We see this agreement as a step towards greater security and solid security guarantee, and I am truly hope it is work effectively, said Zelensky. Country says, isn't it funny that the left calls Trump racist, but when he does something good like this for a person of color, they don't like it. Yeah, they can't stand it. They can't stand it. It wasn't their idea. That's the problem. If they had done it, oh man, they would have been patting themselves on the back for the next 6 months, especially, oh no, February's over. No more Black History Month. Yeah. Yeah. They would have done it a month earlier. They would have done this in mid-February and said, Black History, look at this little boy. He survived cancer. Let's give him a plastic badge. But now here we are, as alluded to by the thumbnail. Zelenskyy, he goes back to, well, first he went crying to Europe. He went to London, went to number 10 Downing Street, begging, and he got what he wanted. And he talked to Trudeau and came to him hat in hand and got what he wanted. And then realized it just wasn't enough and it wasn't going to work. So now he wants to talk peace again. And this is what, the third time? Third time, oh, I come to table. I work on the Trump. I work on the Trump. I give it to you fellatio. I do for Biden. If you saw that clip, I put that clip that I showed yesterday. I did manage to put it up on YouTube. I put it up as a short. Man, that pissed people off. You can't see some of the comments because ScrewTube actually removed some comments from that short. Some comments from that short because they were so nasty. People got so mad. One guy is like, "Oh, this is obviously faked." Dude, it says parody in the title. Yes, it's obviously faked. What an idiot. What an idiot. But yeah, there he is, walking it back again because things aren't going the way he expected. I guess he thought Trump was going to be a pushover. He's not. He is not. It's really funny thinking about Trump, too, and how people, their attitudes towards him, and how popular he used to be. People liked him. People liked him. And they wanted to work with him, and they wanted to talk to him, and they wanted to meet him all the way up until he ran for president. And then they were told to do an about face, to have a 180 attitude, and they did. They did because the TV told them. It's incredible how that works, the power of the media. Prior to that, oh man, everybody loved him, except for Rosie O'Donnell. I've talked about that before. Rosie O'Donnell was the only one who has consistently disliked Trump as far back as I can remember. And Monkey said, did you check the debt clock lately? The income tax box is grayed out. No, I did not see it today. And Monkey says, and they've added a future tariffs tax income box. Really? No, I have not looked at it today, but I'll probably be pulling that up at some point during the podcast. I'll probably be pulling that up today. And I still got to remember to look for who it was that said that about that boy too, because now I'm curious. I don't remember. I can't remember everything. I don't remember who said that. But that was pretty useless. Brian doesn't like Rosie O'Donnell. Says she's disgusting. And Nature Nerd says Zelenskyy wants Ukraine to be like Vietnam. Well, yeah. Vietnam fought one hell of a. They were playing checkers. They were absolutely playing checkers. Vietnam. They were willing to sacrifice, and I forget the name of the leader from Vietnam. I always mix them up. Said that he didn't care if 25 soldiers died to every American as long as America got out of Vietnam. He wasn't kidding. He was not kidding. And Lucky is here. Glad you could make it today. As we move on here, I had mentioned this last week because the fire chief in Los Angeles has finally been terminated and protested the termination. She pushed back against it, but now that has failed. Politico, fired Los Angeles fire chief, loses the appeal, but strikes PR blow against Karen Bass. There she is in session, asking for her appeal, and the council voted it down. So she is completely terminated. It says the good news for Mayor Karen Bass, her decision to sack the city's fire chief in the wake of devastating wildfires was broadly upheld Tuesday by the city council. The bad news, the affirmation followed a messy spectacle that put the mayor and many council members crosswise with the politically potent firefighters, a spat with implications that could persist long after the council's vote. Quote, "You all tell us how much you support firefighters, how much you love labor." And this is Freddie Escobar, who's president of United Firefighters of Los Angeles, the union representing rank and file, tells the council. While labor is with Chief Crowley on this. So the union stands behind Crowley. Interesting. The showdown, or the union leadership does. Because union leadership and what the union members want is not necessarily the same thing, as we have learned over the years. The showdown centered on ex-chief Kristen Crowley's appeal of her termination, which Bass announced nearly 2 weeks ago. Crowley would have needed the support of 2/3 of the council, or 10 members, to reverse the decision. In the end, Crowley only got 2 votes. So long, Crowley. So long, Crowley. Bass's office emphasized the lopsided vote tally in a statement Tuesday about the decision. Quote, "This is an issue of public safety and for the operations of Los Angeles Fire Department. The city of Los Angeles is moving forward." That's a spokesman from the mayor's office. So now the union is sitting there saying that they're going to make things difficult for Bass, at which point she runs for election again. Okay. The thing is, though, Bass is not going to get reelected. I doubt it. I doubt she would win again if she ran again. And now the union, because they said this, can sit there and pretend like it was their influence that had anything to do with it, instead of the fact that she's incompetent and she's been exposed. Oh, here we go. Thank you. Monkey says it was Nicole Wallace that said that about the boy. Nicole Wallace. And John reminds me it's Ho Chi Minh. I can't remember nothing. I can remember plenty, but man, it gets jumbled sometimes. Nicole Wallace. Oh, she's a commentator. Political commentator. Here we go. All right. I'll pull that up then before we move on. I'll pull that up. Nicole Wallace. Because I couldn't remember. Nicole Wallace. And that's going to be an NBC article. No, Newsweek. Excuse me. Newsweek article that I'm going to open up here. And we'll look at that really quick. Just for emphasis. Just to clarify. And it says MSNBC's Nicole Wallace slammed by MAGA for politicizing child cancer survivor. Host Nicole Wallace is facing widespread backlash from MAGA and even some Democrats after her comments regarding President Trump's recognition of a 13-year-old cancer survivor, DeVarjay Daniel, as an honorary Secret Service agent. During Trump's joint address to Congress Tuesday, he honored Daniel, who has been battling brain cancer. Let me see. Wallace's comments, which referenced January 6th and Trump's past pardons, sparked backlash online, with many conservatives accusing her of politicizing the moment. Speaking live on MSNBC, Wallace acknowledged Daniel's resilience, then shifted focuses to Trump's record. Quote, I hope he's alive for another 95 years, and I hope he lives the life he wants to live, she said before adding, I hope he never has to defend the United States Capitol against Donald Trump's supporters, and if he does, I hope he isn't one of the 6 who loses his life to self-extermination. That was highly unnecessary. Highly unnecessary. Nature Nerd says cola union raises are such a joke. My next paycheck gets a 3-cent raise. And Monkey, can you see the articles now? Because yeah, for some reason StreamYard's been doing that. It did that yesterday, and it took a couple of attempts to get it to pop up properly so that everybody could see it. JJ wants to email Wallace and let her know what a POS she is. But she'll never see it, JJ. One of her interns will see it and delete it. And she probably gets 100 of those a day, honestly. But that's what she said. I hope he's alive. I hope he never has to defend the United States Capitol against Donald Trump's supporters. I hope he isn't one of the 6 who loses his life to, I thought it was 4. Is it 4 or 6? I thought it was 4 who allegedly terminated their own lives after the riot, or between the end of that whole situation and having to appear in court. I thought it was 4. It might be 6, or she made a mistake. And Stacy has joined us. Glad you could make it today, Stacy. Here's Granny Smith, keeping me company, curled up on the floor. She's usually underfoot. I have to watch out because she's so quiet. I'm afraid I'm going to step on her. Lucky says it'll be 8 next week. No, not likely, because the trials are over. You could tinfoil hat that one all day, because it sure does look like they didn't want certain people to make it to court to testify, huh? I mean, what kind of law officer are you, Capital City Police? You're so distraught because people walked into the building that you're going to go and hang yourself. That doesn't make any sense. That doesn't make any sense. I don't believe it. I think that's one of the most suspicious things that I've seen out of the government in the last 4 years, or longer than that, because since Biden took office, there's a lot of corruption, a lot of crazy things going on. But all these guys decide they want to disappear before they can be caught, before they can be subpoenaed to talk about January 6th. What a coincidence. What a coincidence. And Stacy said, do you see Donald Trump's banned speech on indoctrinating children in public schools about them being told they were in the wrong body? I'm so happy to hear this becoming a law. Yeah, thank goodness for that as well. Because these kids don't know. Yeah, and I saw that Nature Nerd, Pocahontas. Yeah, he said that. He said Pocahontas agrees. He's bad. He's bad, but at least he speaks his mind, whether people like it or not. Whether people like him or not. And we're going to move on here to, but yeah, Stacy, that is very important, because these kids, they don't know what they want. They don't even know, what their favorite color is, but they can pick a gender. It just doesn't make sense. It just doesn't make sense. And it is abuse. You're encouraging the abuse of these children, and they're making changes to them, to their physiology, that cannot be undone. There is no such thing as detransitioning. The surgery, if they get as far as surgery, it cannot be fixed. And if you've been taking the hormone therapy long enough, you cannot reverse whatever changes have been made. So it permanently affects these kids. There is no fixing it. And there's Joe. He says, Democrats couldn't stand up a 13-year-old with brain cancer 12-year-old Jocelyn Lake and Riley, 95-year-old mom with her son freed from Russia. Yeah, we were just talking about that. We were just talking about that. And how Nicole Wallace was pandering to that as well. Had some nasty things to say. But back to where we were with the fire chief, and this is a New York Post article. Emails now prove Karen Bass's office knew of critical fire risk before LA mayor skipped off to Africa. Now, that's the reason why this is important, okay? And there's old turkey neck herself. The reason why this is so important is because she claims that she would not have left if she had known there was a problem. She wouldn't have left if she had known there was a problem. And now emails have surfaced that proved that she did. And Puck wants to know what they missed. A lot. We're half hour in. Oh my goodness. And there she is, the most clueless person. I mean, she looks like somebody from a nursing home or somebody from mental health when I used to work there. She just has this like vacant expression on her face all the time. But back to the article here really quickly. It says, internal emails prove that the office of Los Angeles Mayor Karen Bass had been warned of critical fire conditions before the Palisades fire, despite the mayor's claims she knew nothing of the danger when she chose to fly to Africa. And it's kind of funny because that was the first statement she had made since the fires. Like, what, a month later, she finally comes forward and says, oh, well, gee, I didn't know. Internal email obtained by the LA Times show that the city's emergency management department warned the mayor's team of damaging winds and elevated fire conditions occurring next week on January 3rd, the day before Bass boarded a plane to attend the inauguration ceremony of the president of Ghana. One email, which has been sent to more than 100 officials across multiple departments, included an attachment from the National Weather Service with a giant red flame graphic and a warning of critical fire conditions, including 80-mile-an-hour winds forecasted for January 7th. Oh, and here she is in Guyana. Is that the new president? Must be nice. EMD officials also emailed two mayoral aides directly and asked to schedule a tentative coordination meeting to discuss the situation. Well, I guess she wasn't available. Yet the warning never reached Bass herself, who found herself sipping cocktails at a U.S. Embassy party while her city burned 7,500 miles away. Bass would later pass the blame to Los Angeles Fire Chief Kristen Crowley, who the mayor sacked last month for her mishandling of the crisis that destroyed thousands of homes and killed 12 people. And, you know, Kristen Crowley, she shares some guilt in this as well. But the mayor, this woman just didn't care. Didn't care. Joe says that Karen looks psychotic and that Democrats all have dark, soulless eyes with no spirit. Oh, God. Paul says those people think they can't be touched no matter what they do. It sure seems that way. And she's no exception. Karen Bass here is no exception. But she just has this vacant look on her face. And you all remember when she was being confronted by a reporter at the airport and would not speak, just stood there and faced the wall. She couldn't talk because she didn't know what to say because no one told her what to say. She's just another puppet. Just another puppet. Incredible. Puck says there's a terrible SCOTUS ruling today about the TRO concerning U.S. aid money. Really? I can't keep up with all of it. I can't keep up with all of it. So, yeah, bottom line, she denies knowing anything. But now there's proof that her and her office were notified in advance of her leaving, even though she claimed, and we read the article a couple of weeks ago, that she had no idea because no one told her anything. If someone had told me, I wouldn't have gone. That's what she said. I had no idea. I didn't get any communication. That's how she's going to save herself. That's how she's going to save herself. She didn't know. I believe that she's clueless, but she knew about this. She knew about this. Boy, I tell you, if she gets elected again, Joe says, what business does she have going to an African leader swearing in ceremony and getting drunk? Good question. Good question. And when she ran, I've talked about this before, when she was running for mayor, she promised under no circumstances would she leave California. I'm going to stay right here to make sure I can manage the city property. I won't go anywhere. And she's off to Guyana. She's been to Paris twice. Seriously, look it up. She's made trips to other parts of the United States, including DC. I mean, I can kind of excuse DC if it was required. You know, that's a political hub. But seriously, she ran around all over the place. It was just talk. As always, it was just talk. But as always, there's more than enough corruption to go around for all the good it does to talk about it. For all the good it does to talk about it, because I'm still waiting for the guillotine to start dropping. Let's line them up. Line them up. Speaking of which, New York Post article, Obama's Justice Department and John Kerry systematically derailed FBI probe of Iranian terrorists while pursuing nuclear deal. Whistleblower just exposed this. I'm waiting to see if any heads roll. The Obama administration systematically derailed an FBI probe into Iranian terrorists with the Secretary of State, John Kerry, Herman Munster himself, personally interfering to block arrests to score a nuclear weapons pact with Tehran and show newly released bombshell emails. Freshly declassified FBI communications from 2015 and 2016 reveal how officials in then-President Barack Obama's Justice and State Departments stopped federal agents from enforcing U.S. sanctions on Iran and set up a shadow amnesty program that protected scores of additional Iranian criminals, which they've all denied in the past, but now there's proof. The covert effort included the abandonment of dozens of Iran-related investigations by the FBI and related cases by federal prosecutors after recognizing the State Department and Department of Justice obstruction would thwart effective enforcement efforts, according to the whistleblowers. Secretary of State Kerry personally told DOJ officials that they were to stand down on arrests, a disclosure stated directly contradicting his sworn testimony to Congress in July of 2015 that Iran was being restrained from implementing its missile programs. At the same time, Kerry's State Department was negotiating and would later sign onto the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action known as the Iran nuclear deal. The agreement lifted economic sanctions and resulted in a prisoner swap between Tehran and Washington, while also coinciding with a subsequently reviewed payout of $1.7 billion in cash to the Iranian regime and the release of 14 members of its weapons of mass destruction and ballistic missile programs. Kerry and the State Department sold out the safety of Americans and our allies when they provided 1.7 billion in cash to Iran, which unsurprisingly Iran used to continue development of their weapons programs and to better equip and fund their proxies. So who's surprised? Who's surprised John Kerry lied to Congress? Fluke Man is here. Glad you could make it. Nature Nerd is telling us Canada tariffs U.S. food. Do we send any food to Canada? What do we send to Canada as far as food from the United States? What do we actually send to them? And Joe says Canada has tariffs against America, including 270% on milk, 245% on cheese, 298% on butter, 238 on chicken, 50 on barley, 25 on cars, and 45 on aluminum. Well, I tell you what, tell Canada just make the shit themselves and we'll stop sending it. Tell them to stop sending it. Those numbers are way higher than anything we're doing, though. I think he was only 25%, right, from Trump? 25%, I forget. But yeah, big surprise. John Kerry lied before Congress. Obama lied. They did illegal deals. They let criminals go. They gave away money to an enemy. For what? For what? And what's going to be done about it? That's what it always boils down to. Okay, this has been exposed. You can now prove that they were lying. You can prove it. And what's going to come of that? What's going to come of that? Are we going to see Kerry or Obama in jail? They used to execute traitors. JJ said U.S. mostly exports grains, meats, fruits, vegetables, and dairy to Canada, at least in the area of food. Okay. I'm sure they get a lot from Wisconsin. Let them go ahead and sanction it. Trade war. They'll lose. If they want to make it a trade war, they will lose. And all Trump wanted, because he suspended it temporarily. He suspended it temporarily. All he wanted was for them to make sure no one else is coming across our northern border. Okay. There you go. There you go. While we are in the realm of corruption, I've got another one for you. So much for Obama and Kerry. We may as well get back to the Biden administration. This is another Post article. I think this is the third one today. $375 billion EPA slush fund handled by John Podesta gave billions to charities that had only been founded months earlier. Really? So charities appeared out of clear blue sky, and he gave them billions. I wonder what those charities are. The Biden administration funneled at least $20 billion into environmental groups, most of which had only recently been founded. In one case, former Vice President Kamala Harris handed a check for nearly $7 billion to Bethesda, a Maryland-based group, Climate United Fund, which does not appear in the IRS charities database and has no federal filings. So, I mean, do they even exist? The nonprofit fund has only been incorporated in Delaware on November 30th, 2023, according to public records, 5 months before Harris handed them the cash. So this charity pops into existence, has no federal filings, is not on the IRS's charity database, and Kamala Harris personally hands them a check for $7 billion. Money laundering, anyone? The Climate United Fund then announced the historic investment in a press release, noting the group's work delivers benefits like cleaner air and increased energy security. How? However, because the company is so new, there is no publicly published accounting of how it planned to spend $7 billion. Projects have been announced, including a $10.8 million pre-development loan solar project on tribal lands in eastern Oregon and Idaho, and a $32 million solar energy project at the University of Arkansas. But they represent only a drop in the bucket of that grant's amount. And those are just plans. None of it has actually been done. Let me just emphasize. That's just stuff they suggested they might do. Ethically speaking, it's concerning, said Laurie Styron, CEO of Charity Watch, an independent charity watchdog group. You think? What was the purpose of creating middlemen entities when there are so many established groups in the climate space with good track records? What was the value added in by doing it this way, especially with such large sums of taxpayer funds? That's another quote. The cash for the charity came from a huge $370 billion climate slush fund of taxpayer money overseen by John Podesta, a political consultant who was chair of Hillary Clinton's failed 2016 bid for president, and White House Chief of Staff Bill Clinton. Or he was the chief of staff to Bill Clinton. So he's got really strong ties with Bill Clinton and Joe Biden. And John says Trump's another cog in Rome's fall, prep and prepare. Joe says Obama and Kerry are going to hell. Oh, God. Buck wants us to annex Canada. And Nature Nerd says Canadian prepper has mental breakdown from 25% U.S. tariffs announcement a month ago, then talks about World War III, Great Depression, and believing his business will suffer. That's all. I mean, I'm not trying to feud with anybody, but you all know I have a channel that focused on prepper-related stuff, Prepper University. And I had gotten away from doing videos on it for a while because YouTube was just beating the hell out of the channel. And I've just started doing them again recently. I only just started doing the prepper-related videos again recently, trying to get back into the flow of it. Because I used to put out 3 videos on that channel a day, but YouTube would either take them down, sanction them, or give me some other crap for it. And then nobody sees it. Nobody sees the work. And it you'd like for people to at least be able to see the videos if you went through the trouble. And I go from like tens of thousands of views to barely being able to get 400 or 500 views in a month. Because that's what YouTube does to you. And I'm familiar with some of the other bigger channels, including Canadian. And it seems to me like he's one of those channels that sort of panders to the doom and gloom concept. Yeah, be prepared for whatever, because you never know. You never know. Things might go great. You may never see a full-blown disaster in your lifetime, but be prepared for it. I'm not going to, life is already hard enough. You don't have to terrify people. I don't like that. Every single thing that comes down the pipe is not going to end the world. And even Yeshua, even Jesus said, you will not know the day nor the hour. Prepare for it, but don't expect it every 10 seconds. Calm down. Just take it easy. I don't like it when people do that. And of course, and then Joe says Canadian prepper is a top-level grifter. I don't know. But But you don't have to fearmonger. You don't have to, it's not necessary for people to live in fear every minute of their lives. Yeah, do be prepared, but don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. Worry about that if it happens. Worry about, whatever, if and when it happens. Ryan says, what does ScrewTube have against preparing for things that could someday hit the fan? I don't know. But they got Coffee Talk and Prepper University. It hit them really hard a couple of years ago. I've talked about it before. And, that people just weren't getting notifications anymore. And like 90% of the viewership just dropped off. 90% of the viewership dropped off on both channels. 66,000 subscribers on Prepper University. Tell me why I put a video up and I can't get 300-400 views. Doesn't make sense. When I used to get tens, even hundreds of thousands of views on a video. I even have a couple that's over 1 million. Now I put a video up, nobody even gets notices. That's being shadow banned. John recommends the Prepper channel, and he wants me to continue it. Like I said, I'm trying to get back into the groove. I'll give it another go. I've put a few videos up in the last couple of weeks. Joe says YouTube screwed small creators over the last couple of years. Very hard to find small channels now. Yeah. Paul says he's prepared. Nature Nerd says Canadian Prepper said, wake up to who is in control here. The king and the queen is on our money. JJ says you're correct. Canadian Prepper is more about the doom. I grew tired of his channel after a while. Yeah, I mean, like I said, and you know what? It's not life that's hard. I've said this before. It's the people in it that make it hard. People in life make it hard. It doesn't have to be that way. And sometimes you just need to walk away from it. And a lot of that stuff can be toxic. You know what? Bombs could drop tomorrow. Or maybe they won't. I'm not going to sit here fretting. Oh, God, nukes are going to fall any second. Pissing my pants every day. Scared to death. That's no way to live. It's no way to live. I'm not going to tell people to do that. Oh, this is the big one now. How many big ones are going to come? I've been listening to the big one coming since the 70s. Oh, my. Crap. As I catch up here. John, I'll put that up. I'm not going to read that, John. I'm not going to read that one, John. I'm going to get in trouble. I'm already in enough trouble with ScrewTube. Thank you. Thank you. They already hate me. They already hate me. And they punished both of the channels pretty hard. Coffee Talk and Prepper University. They've given a very, very difficult time to in the last couple of years. But what are you going to do? What are you going to do? Now we're going to talk about Rashida Tlaib. Did I pronounce that right? Rashida Tlaib. It says the Western Journal article, Representative Rashida Tlaib has a screaming meltdown as she's blocked from entering the Trump administration building. And there she is, pitching a fit because her and her group of protesters were denied entry. So a theatrical political protest starring Democratic members of Congress took place Monday at the building housing offices of the Federal Department of Housing and Urban Development. As shown in a cameo appearance on X, Democratic Representative Rashida Tlaib of Michigan called out a HUD worker after she and a group of protesters were denied access to the building. As the contingent of protesters was being escorted out of the building, Tlaib grabbed the spotlight by screaming above the hubbub when she noticed she was being filmed that the target of her ire did not work for the American people. Although the audio was of poor quality, it sounded as if she was contradicted, leading her to scream, "No, you don't, no, you don't. You don't give a shit." And the reason the audio is distorted is because the filming is actually being done from outside the building. So you can hear her through the glass doors, screaming at this guy. You see the glass there? And so if you can hear her through the glass partitions, she's loud. Screaming and cussing. And this seems to be the new thing for these Democratic lawmakers, showing up at a building uninvited. They don't have a meeting. They don't have anything scheduled. You don't just walk into these buildings. I can't walk into HUD and demand to see people. I have to have an appointment. So they get their mob together, Waters and Pelosi and Rashad and Tlaib and whoever, and they should. This is the new thing, because we read one of these a couple of weeks ago. Puck says he thinks that's an old video. This is dated within the last 24 hours. Within the last 24 hours. So this happened 2 days ago. Showing up at these buildings with a mob of people and getting rejected so they can film themselves. Yeah, it says March 3rd. March 3rd is when this was filmed. It's probably that she's done it before, or someone like her has done it before, like this one right here with Maxine Waters. Showing up without an appointment, knowing you're going to be turned away so they can pretend like they're being oppressed. Seems to be the new thing here with these people. And I just wanted to point that out. It's really just kind of ridiculous. And Paul likes the bug out walking through forest and brush videos. I appreciate that. Jericho says, I feel like Canadian prepper and most major prep channels are just sensationalists now. They do pander quite a bit, and they mostly theorize or hypothesize on current events. Theorizing is cool and all, but there's a point where you're just stirring people's minds for an extra like and follow. Like, just show me how to store rice. I know. Indeed. 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 But yeah, I don't like all of that kind of stuff. I don't need the doom and gloom. As I pointed out, life is hard enough, and it's the people that make it hard. People make life difficult. People make life difficult, and it doesn't have to be. It does not have to be. And you don't have to be connected to that. Again, I'd rather be more positive about it. It's just a lifestyle choice, something extra my wife and I both do. Prepare for emergencies, for disaster, even for a major grid down scenario possibly. But I'm not sitting here quaking in my boots expecting it to happen any second. Any second. And Monkey said debt clock. Yeah, the debt clock is coming up. I got it pulled up right here, actually. Here is the U.S. debt clock. And currently, hey, Doge is at $166 billion. $166 billion. Is this what you're talking about, the tax revenue? These are silver now. What's missing? What's supposed to be missing? And you said something new was on here? I don't know. Usually they put a badge on it when something's new. Is that the future USA Treasury dollars? Currency and credit derivatives? I don't know which one is supposed to be new. There's Social Security, there's defense, interest. Lucky says we're all going to die Wednesday. Maybe. Puck says, does the wife run the other channel with the toys and records? The Nostalgia channel? No, I do, but we both are. Most of the time, we're both on it together. Especially if there's a live. She comes on with me. Monkey says it's the future tariff tax revenue. Where is that one? Do you see it on here? Oh, I see it. Here it is. Future tariff tax revenue, 655 billion, 847 million. There it is. Yeah, I had not seen that one before. So yeah, I think that is new. I think that is new. And with that, we are at the top of the hour. So I will go ahead and start signing off. You want to say goodbye, honey? Come here. Come here, little thing. Again, you are listening to and or watching Coffee Talk, and you can find the live portion Monday through Friday at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on YouTube on Coffee Talk and Prepper University. You can find me on X at Coffee Talk Chat. You can find me on fistfulofradio.com, podcasting out of Atlanta. You can find me on Coffee Talk 2 on Rumble. What do you think? You want to get up? You want to go back down? I'll put you back down. So thank you, everybody, for joining us here today. As always, hope you got something out of the conversation. And with that, we will catch you again tomorrow.